life engineering, processes that combine science, wisdom, and spirituality to build a life of alignment. Joining Dr. Pat is your host, Gabriela Embon, bringing you bi-weekly wisdom nuggets, your step-by-step guidance to build a life of no regrets. Stay tuned as they uncover powerful processes for you to realize your true potential. Are you ready for some magic wisdom? Life engineering starts now.
Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Pat. I have the honor of co-hosting this show with the most incredible Gabriela. And every show that she has done, it is like weaving this beautiful tapestry, a tapestry of tools, a tapestry of engineering, but more importantly, a tapestry of solutions. I am very excited about this particular show because this is the one that is so difficult for so many people. Discover my purpose made easy, right? I mean, how many distractions show up so that we don't even say yes to even looking at this? How important is this right now today in the world, Gabriela?
Let me start, Dr. Pat, by saying that this is the number one request that we get as coaches for discovery calls and free consultations. People want to find themselves, realign their careers, want to add a component of fulfillment to not just succeed and make money and have a steady job. They want to be fulfilled. So right now, and I would say more so after the pandemic, this is the number one request from coaches. And what we want to share today, and my promise is to share two steps. One is, how do we find our purpose? What is our purpose? What is it made of? And the other one is, how do we execute it? So we're going to focus on the what and the how. And this is my promise for today. So let's dive in. And you asked me, why is it so important to discover my purpose, my calling, right? Well, I'll tell you what I believe in. I believe, and I've said this before, that as an adult, our responsibility is to fulfill ourselves in two different aspects. One is in our career, and the other one is in our primary relationship. We're always better not by ourselves, but that's a different topic. Today, we'll focus on career. Mm-hmm. We don't really find or discover our purpose. What we're actually doing is we are remembering it. The reason we are remembering it is because we kind of agree on it before we came here, okay? It wasn't placed upon us. We chose it. And then the journey becomes remembering what is that we chose. Why is that important to remember that what we chose? Mm-hmm. Because this is our path to fulfillment, hence our path to happiness. There are two key ingredients for us to experience happiness in our lives.
Yeah, I love that you're talking about this. Let me just say this one thing, and then I'm going to let you roll. I had no idea that if I look back and the way I grew up and having a stuttering issue, right, from a very young age, I had no idea that that issue was to teach, look, I just stuttered, was to teach me how to listen to questions and then how to ask powerful questions. Who could have known back then, a kid, that I would need the skill to have the life and the purpose that is so amazing, right?
And I know you're going to touch on that, right? Part of your unique ability is asking the right questions and interviewing and co-hosting, right? So you developed that as a child. We're going to go back there because you just share a beautiful example of identifying our unique ability. So we're going to go back to it. But there's no question that everything we go through, the experiences, the situation we had to overcome, everything prepares us. And it's part of the journey of remembering and uncovering our purpose. And that is important. It's important to lead a purposeful life. It's important to feel that we are fulfilled, that we're doing exactly what we came here to do. That authenticity, that alignment is important because that together with faith give us the recipe for happiness. And happy people create happy lives and a happy world. So this world is made of people. If people are happy, we'll have a happier world, that's for sure. So let's get into the practical side of this. We're going to share the what and we're going to share the how. And let's start with the what. How do we find our purpose? So the first step is, as I said, what is that I'm here to do? Not asking how I'm going to do that, but what is it that I'm here to do? And let's just be clear. Making money is not a purpose. It's a result. It's the result of us being aligned. And I say that because to many young adults, you ask today, what do you want to do? I want to be rich. Wonderful. How? How do you want to be rich? That will be the result of you being in alignment with what you do. Because when you're in alignment, you provide the most amount of value. Therefore, you make the most amount of money. So I'll start by clarifying the process, but I'll be very honest and say that, see, the title of this podcast is not DIY, do it yourself, because, okay, even though we're going to be guiding, this can be done on your own, but it's much easier to work with a professional coach that can facilitate this. It's not as easy to do this on our own. Okay, but at least you know what to expect and what to ask for. So purpose is the combination of three ingredients: passions, unique ability or genius zone, and meaning. Again, passion, unique ability, and meaning. This is the process that we teach in the life coaching certification. So our coaches really are trained to guide their clients through this beautiful process of uncovering all the parts that are hidden from our awareness. Let's go over these three components one by one, and we're going to offer resources for people to start diving into this on their own. Number one is passion. When I ask what am I passionate about the most, I don't mean what my hobbies are. I'm passionate about baking and cooking. It's not my purpose, okay? The way we look at passions, and this is taken from the book, The Passion Test, is what I'm doing, what I'm having, and how I'm feeling when my life is ideal. So I strongly recommend working with the Passion Test book, and even the Passion Test is as a free resource online, as a way of going through simplifying the process of clarifying the main passions, the top 5 passions. I'll give you an example, okay? For me, I was always passionate about science, as well as the human brain or human behavior. So when I did the passion test, even though our passions can change as we mature, it was some of the passions I knew would never change, like family, like partner, like freedom. But what show up always in some form or another is the passion for teaching and for the human brain, for understanding people. So obviously, when I went to find my purpose, these passions have to be taken into consideration, right? So again, very recommended to read the book, The Passion Test, and Google the Passion Test online. You'll find the test to do that on your own. The second component is the unique ability. Well, we all carry a unique skill that we can probably trace to our childhood, or at least understand why we developed it. Your story was amazing. You share how your struggle with stuttering helped you develop the ability to ask questions and listen. That's right?
Yeah, and let me just comment on this for a minute, because when you're young, you don't know this. You see, if we can learn this early, that when things show up like this, it really isn't to be mean. It's not a mean universe. There's something here that's going to guide us along the way. Even if I had to get a bunch of detours to get here, I got here 20 years ago in the strangest circumstance. But let's talk about the fact that You get here and everything perhaps that has happened to you in life has set you up to be successful in your life purpose, right?
That's right. That's right. And the unique ability is that gift that we carry, that is quite unique to us. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. I love when I teach this to the coaches, I love referring to the movie Ratatouille. I think we mentioned that in the past, that the rat that likes to cook, it's not cooking the unique ability, it's how the rat cooks, which is knowing which spices to blend, right? Because she can smell, or he can smell the spices. So the unique ability is smelling spices. Now, because the rat had a passion for cooking, if we combine the unique ability with a passion, then we will use that extra sense of smell for cooking. But you can also use it as a perfume expert. If you had a passion for aesthetics or beauty, right? It can be used. That unique ability has to be combined with passion in order to give us a clue to our purpose.
Yeah.
So we all have this unique gift. And when we are in our genius zone, that's when we are mostly using our unique ability. The best way to understand the concept of the genius zone is to refer to the book, The Big Leap, from Hendricks, and he explains all the zones that we can be operating at. Most people operate at their excellence zone. But when we shift from doing something we are successful to do something we are not just successful, but we're also in alignment and fulfilled, that's when we transition to our genius zone. Not saying it's easy. We have to identify how that looks like. We have to identify what our unique ability is, and also work on some of the beliefs, right?
Yeah.
The
Can I ask you a
subconscious
question
belief.
on this right here with
ahead.
beliefs? Let me ask you this, because you just nailed it, and I want to make sure we make this point. You know, I'm an introvert. I am so far on the introvert scale. They made me take that Myers-Briggs 4 times in my corporate job. They didn't believe it. So we get information that is confusing and wrong. And the information I was given was, you are an introvert. You can never be good at public speaking. You could never be good in people. I mean, this is what happened to me I'm 30 something in my corporate job because I didn't know any better. So would you talk about the beliefs that other people give us or that we may have? Because being an introvert doesn't stop me from doing this and loving it, right? So can you touch on beliefs for a minute again?
Absolutely. Usually what keeps us within the excellence zone, right, is the fear to leap. But that fear, okay, is covered by a layer of perceptions about ourselves and about what it means if we dare to transition to our genius zone. Whether it is the way that is described in the book is an upper limit. Like we all have a container or a thermostat of how much positivity we can experience in our lives. And these beliefs are usually about worthiness, whether we're worthy or good enough or deserving of actually shining who we truly are. Because only when we are in the genius zone, we're exposing what's amazing about us. In the excellence zone, we're kind of hiding still. And it's, we have fears of shining. What if I outshine someone else? What if I become really good and then my siblings are jealous? So we have the fear of shining. And I always tell this to the coaches. I said, when you shine your light, you don't blind people. You light up people. And there's a big difference between blinding someone and inspiring someone. You illuminate people. There's a difference between blinding and illuminating. But we're born to believe that we all have to conform to a certain way. I cannot be more than my parents. I cannot be more than my siblings. I need to stay under the radar. So these belief systems that were created to protect us at the same time are keeping us in the excellence zone, preventing us from moving into the genius zone. What if I create more money than my family? What if I'm the first one to succeed so much? We carry fear around that. And in the book is so well described, the limiting beliefs that keep us in a certain level, under a certain ceiling, and prevent us from breaking through those layers into the genius zone. But the first step is to understand what our genius zone looks like. What's my unique ability? Once I know what it is, right, I can work on the limiting beliefs that keep me from being in that area, in that zone. I'll tell you, you share your childhood connection to your unique ability. For me, the unique ability is the ability to go through a process or grasp information intuitively and then conceptualize that into steps that can be transferred as knowledge. In other words, this is all fancy to say teaching, right? But it's how I teach, right? But then you realize that when I was in high school, I had 11 students, private tutoring. I had my own school at home. I had 11 students a week while doing high school. Or that, well, I didn't play so much house as a child. I played teacher, right? So you can always connect the dots back and realize that this was always part of your passion and your unique ability. And again, refer to the book, The Big Leap, for this component. Let's talk about the third component, the meaning component. This one is connected to our why, what we believe in, what we stand for, and it requires that we trace all the main events in our lives, the impactful events in our lives. We realize what we learn from these, and then how we can use these lessons to help others. In other words, we were being prepared without knowing. The question is, prepare for what? So when you take your life events, and for each you write what you learn from that positively, and then from those lessons you write, how can I use them to help others? You're being shown what you were being prepared for. Again, I'll use myself as an example. When I look at all the life events, the main life events and the lessons, I realized that I was always guided by two core beliefs, or looking at my why. One is the inability to compromise on my happiness. It's the belief that we need to course correct until we find that sweet spot. And the other one is believing in our ability to create and build an amazing life for ourselves, right? So that's what has meaning for me. So if I combine now the three ingredients, passion for human behavior, for the brain, for teaching, plus my unique ability in the area of transferring information, concepts, plus meaning, which is don't compromise on your happiness, right?
Yeah.
From that, when I combine, is my purpose will be using my unique ability in the areas that I'm passionate about. So teach what? Dance classes? No, teach human behavior and the brain, right? In a way that that will generate meaning for me. So what will I teach? How to not compromise on your happiness. And then if I put this together, is transferring conceptual models in the area of human behavior, right? To help people not compromise on their happiness. In other words, and you like this, create a life of no regrets. That we've been repeating this, create a life of no regrets. So if you stop to think about your purpose, it's difficult to come up with this. But if you go through the three ingredients, and we share two books that can truly help find those components, the passion test and the big leap, and then you write down everything and you look at it, the words will come out of the page and they will arrange themselves and you will have it in front of your eyes.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question because you said something. I want to go back to something you said, and it's so important. You also talked about the way that you have your unique gifts and that you're able to compile things, and you use the word intuitively. And I know that we can do another show on this, but I want to really also say that sometimes we are given this wisdom and this knowledge, not logically or linearly, right? Not based on what you wrote in your high school book, but intuitively you're drawn to something. And I thank you for talking about the leap, because when your intuition is moving you forward, you have to take the leap. Even if you don't go out and do a network, but if you take the leap and you see what's there, then you'll be able to do exactly what you said. I mean, is this also important to really know how to integrate intuition in these steps?
Absolutely, because intuition is the other side of the coin, and we need both, right? So why would you operate with one hand when you have two? And intuition means also that you allow your higher self to guide you on what it knows that you're not aware of. And you allow knowledge to be received not just through books, as you said, but you allow yourself to have other teachers.
Yes.
Right? So absolutely. And yes, even if I look at my human design, it's the lateral thinking, it's the ability to intuitively grasp information and translate it. Or my soul blueprint, which is the divine wisdom. So yes, our human design, and we talked about the science of differentiation a few episodes back. Our human design is not a coincidence. It's the cues to our purpose. And we will always find that it all comes naturally and beautifully together. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. But see, I think everybody's intuitive. For me, the intuition is about grasping concepts and bringing them down. For somebody else, might be the intuition of how to design beautiful places.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because as we move forward, we're talking about, how we move this into the next phase, which is a path of service. The how.
That's right. Once I uncover what my purpose is, or in simple words, what is the way that I'm here to serve that will provide success and fulfillment? Once I have the what, the question, the next step is the how. So we identify, and for the coaches who are listening in our community, this is new, I haven't talked about it much. We identify different paths of serving, okay? So there are 3 ways we can typically serve, or a combination of these, of course. The first one is to serve by offering a trait or a skill that you either naturally know how to or you learned. For example, I might be very good at designing beautiful spaces or fishing, as we told the story, and I can offer my services for exchange of money. I might be a very good designer and create spaces that people are happy about. Or I might be an amazing fishman and fish for other people and sell my fish, right? So that's one way. The other way to serve is to teach a skill or a process or a trait. So maybe I'm a great piano player, and the first way of serving is that I'm going to play for others. I'm going to be a musician. Or, you know what? I'm not just going to be a musician. I'm going to teach people how to play the piano, or I'm going to teach people how to fish, whatever it is, because I learned a new way of doing this, or an easier way of doing it. So the way that I want to serve is not so much to do it for others, but to teach others how to do it. That's a second way that we can be using our purpose. And the third way, I love the third way, because we have so many limiting beliefs about that. The third way is to share wealth. How many people believe that if you were born rich, or you were born and you inherited your family's wealth, okay, you haven't done anything. That's not worth it. But this is what I receive when I channel this information, okay? Some people are born wealthy for a reason, or they create wealth easily because their way of serving this world is by sharing their wealth. So they are here to make a difference by sharing their wealth in a meaningful way, whether it's philanthropy, charity, building a school, funding a breakfast club, doesn't matter. In the area that has meaning for them and that they are passionate about, of course, but their unique ability is to make money. And that doesn't make them evil, as some people believe, or the fact that you were born with so much money doesn't make you less if you use it to serve. So that's a third way. It's the less common, perhaps, but it's a third way that we're here to serve. Does it make sense?
Mother Teresa. I mean, there's so many examples across the board. All the people that I can think of, I think about the very wealthy people. I live in the Pacific Northwest, Amazon, Microsoft, and then you watch what people do and how they create things. But this is really the most important part. Now, I got to ask you this question, but before we go to the last part of this and the closing, how do people find out more about the Academy? How do they find out more about you? Let's make sure we give them the website.
They visit us at coachingacademy.net and then contact us. We'll always schedule to speak with you. We're happy to do so.
Now, let's just bring it full circle. For those people that are listening and thinking, I don't know where I am, I don't have a clue. I mean, I must say that was a large part of my life, but don't give up hope.
Oh, no. And I'm going to go right into the end. And I say, if you're having a hard time clarifying, okay, seek help. Because there is a way. You might not know what it is. You might feel confused. Just seek help. Because there's, even in our coaches, if you look for a coach from the Coaching Academy, they're trained to facilitate this process in 4 sessions. So it's not 6 months to find your purpose. It's 4 sessions, very effective process and fun. That's what I love about this process. It's fun. Who doesn't like to learn about what's unique and amazing about them? So just seek help. And sometimes, it's not all or nothing. It's not about looking for the ultimate clarity. Get minimum clarity you need to test. It's not a tunnel with one exit. But you need to get started, and from that to get contrast to course correct. So go through the process and get the clarity you need to get started. Okay, because I'll end by saying this: contribution and fulfillment are a need of the soul. We're carrying a soul inside us who cannot be ignored. We can't ignore our soul. Well, we can, but nothing good comes out of it. So the fact that you don't know how to satisfy your soul, okay, doesn't mean that you can. Just seek help. If you don't understand the language of your soul, seek help from a translator. It will help you communicate with it. It will help you find the answers.
Gabriela, thank you so much for this. This is very powerful. And I also want to echo what you've said. You and I are not here because I did everything on my own. I have had to seek help in some of the most interesting ways. Someday we will share your story, which will be beautiful. But we're here because we had to, in my case, learn how to ask for help. Once I figured that out, wow, what a difference. Gabriela, one more time, the website, please.
coachingacademy.net. And if you're being called to help people go through this process, we have a life coaching certification process starting in January. Very soon.
I love it. Gabriela, thank you so much. Much love to you. Thank you for this powerful message. To all of you out there, what we're talking about, what Gabriela talks about every time she does this show, are ways for you to get from where you are to where you want to go. And it doesn't matter where you are. Thank you for tuning us in, turning us on. We'll see you next time.
You have been listening to Life Engineering, processes that combine science, wisdom, and spirituality to create a life of alignment on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Join host Gabriela Embon and Dr. Pat every first and third Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific for bi-weekly wisdom nuggets on how to create your perfect synergy between your mind, body, and spirit in order to realize your true potential. For more information, visit Gabriela at coachingacademy.net.